Hi, I hope you all can see me and hear me. Let me just adjust a few settings real quick. Awesome. Let's see, I think I can see you now. Okay, great. So today we're going to be talking about socialization. And socialization is one of my favorite topics because I love working with puppies. And if you have a young puppy at home, socialization is everything. It's like the main thing that you need to be working on with your puppy. If your puppy is in the socialization window, which we'll talk about. So, and right now, socialization is an even bigger deal because we are in the middle of a pandemic and socialization just looks really different than it has traditionally looked for our puppies. So, I want to share, before we get started, I want to share a story with you all. So, back in 2012, when I got my German Shepherd puppy, I was doing all the socialization with him. And he's turned out to be a really great dog, and we did just like a ton of socialization. And he is a German Shepherd, and he is kind of feisty, but I can still bring him anywhere. I can bring him everywhere. Kids can run up to him. He can be around other dogs. I can take him to Starbucks. He's just a great all-around dog. So I feel pretty confident about my socialization process because of him. And I've also, of course, worked with puppies for the past 15 years. So I've raised a lot of fosters. And I've trained a lot of my clients' dogs, and I've done a lot of puppy board and train. So I have a lot of experience with socialization, and I've discovered I have this really specific way that I like to socialize my puppies. Well, then in January of 2020, I ended up getting my puppy, Izzy. So Izzy is a Cavapoo, and I got her in January. She's 8 weeks. And of course, what happened just a little bit after that was coronavirus. So I was able to do some socialization with Izzy pre-coronavirus, but I've also been working with her a lot during coronavirus. Um, and the big secret is that it's not that different, right? So like what I'm doing with her now versus what I was doing with her then, some things are different. I'm not taking her to puppy kindergarten classes, group training classes, but in terms of like our day to day, how I'm socializing her, how I'm working with her, that's not that different. So let's talk a little bit about the details. So, what is socialization? So, socialization is the period of time from the period of time from 4 to 12 weeks where your puppy's just more sensitive to new experiences. So anything that happens during that time frame, 4 to 12 weeks, that is a happy experience for your puppy is going to be really retained. But likewise, anything that happens during that period that's a negative experience is going to be more easily retained. Some breeds go their socialization windows a little bit longer, so their socialization window is actually going to go from say like 4 weeks to 16 weeks. But I think if you're being conservative, you really want to pack quite a bit in the 4 to 12 week window. Since most of us aren't getting our puppies until 8 weeks, we really have a lot of work to do in a short period of time. So 8 to 12 weeks is really like the bulk of your socialization window. So it's really only 4 weeks. So if you have a puppy that's that age, this live right now, this is really what you want to listen to. You want to stop what you're doing. You want to just focus and listen to this live, because that is really, it's just going to have a lifelong impact on your puppy. If you have a puppy that's under 16 weeks, you really want to tune in here and listen, because this is going to have a lifelong impact on your puppy. If you have a puppy who's on the way, he's going to be coming, good for you. You're ahead of the game. You definitely want to check in and be really focused on this live, because I'm going to answer all your questions here. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments so that I can see them. That would be awesome. But let's see. So I want to talk a little bit about the specifics now. So we know the window is 4 to 12 weeks or 4 to 16 weeks. Now, the biggest change between now and before is that before, when you were socializing your puppy, You might like let your puppy go over to your neighbor and your neighbor would be petting your puppy, or like the kids in the neighborhood would come over and pet your puppy, or your puppy would meet all the other dogs in the neighborhood and like run up to them and they would all be sniffing each other and playing and all that stuff. Or you'd be going to puppy kindergarten and your puppy would be playing with a bunch of other puppies in a group class setting. And for a lot of us, depending on what area of the country you live in, that's not really available to us anymore. So what does it look like now? Now it's going to look a little different. But one of my big tips is, and this is going back to that story about like Max and Izzy and how like their training, their socialization process has actually not been that different. And that's because your puppy doesn't actually need to touch other dogs or people to grow up into a happy and well-trained dog. So I'm going to write that in the comments. Your puppy doesn't actually need to touch other dogs or people to, well, I should say your puppy doesn't actually need to touch other dogs or people on your everyday walks in order to grow up into a happy and well-trained dog. And I wanted to write that down in the comments because I think that that's just like such an important piece of it. Let's see. I think a lot of us think that needs to happen, and it doesn't actually need to happen. So that's really important and good to know. So how do you socialize? So I always say that you need 3 things to get a happy and well-trained, to raise a happy and well-trained adult dog. You need 3 things. You need, and this is like across the board, right? Like, so these are the 3 things that I really want to sear in there because they're just so important. You need the right tools. That's like critically important. You can't do anything without the right tools. 2, of course, is training. And 3 is mindset. So we're going to talk about these 3 things and how to use this framework to get your socialization done. It's so easy, makes it easy to remember. So for tools, always, we need your dog's health first. That's the most important tool that we have. So you want to start with a healthy puppy. If your puppy's dealing with Giardia, if your puppy's dealing with coccidia, if your puppy's dealing with worms, if your puppy's dealing with any of those things, deal with medical stuff first, get your puppy nice and healthy, then do your socialization. You really need to have, the next tool is you really need to have treats. There's no way around it for me. You need treats. You need treats to socialize your puppy. I guess you could maybe try to praise your puppy. I don't know how that's a different training approach than mine though. So if that's the training approach you're going to go with, that's just a different training approach. But my approach that I'm going to recommend to all of my clients and everything that I've done for 15 years, you really need treats, and you need a variety of treats. So you need maybe like your puppy's kibble. That could be like your low level treat. You need a medium level treat. That could be like a commercial dog treat. And then you need your high level treats. That would be like little kibble size, like you cut up little kibble size pieces of boiled chicken or hot dog or string cheese. And so that treat arsenal is what's really going to help you with your puppy and making these experiences that might be neutral or maybe even like a little bit unpleasant, we're going to shift them into the positive sphere, which is what we really want. We really want your puppy to be having these really happy experiences, so those can all get imprinted in there and your puppy grows up to be this really happy, confident adult dog. So you've got your puppy's health, you've got your puppy, you've got the treats. You're going to need a harness and a leash. You could maybe do this on a collar. I really like the harness because work on your loose leash walking at a different time. When you're socializing your puppy, when your puppy's in the socialization window, you don't need to be working on your loose leash walking. So that's why I don't worry about it. I just put my puppy in something comfortable. I get a nice comfy puppy harness. I get a standard 6-foot walking leash, and that's the equipment that I have my puppy wear for socialization. That way, let's say he sees another dog. If he lunges forward or if he jumps forward to see the other dog, he's not getting a lot of pressure really quickly on his neck, which he might be perceiving as something negative. Again, we're just trying to keep all of these experiences very neutral to positive, so the harness is going to assist you with that. And then the last tool that you're going to need, which is probably the most important tool in this whole piece, and this is like the one that's the most overlooked, is the knowledge of your puppy's body language. So you want to be a keen observer of your puppy during the socialization process, and you really want to be watching your puppy's body language. And with socialization, coronavirus is kind of nice in a way with socialization because you don't have all these people coming over to bombard you and your puppy. I don't know about you, but I live in an urban area. I've raised puppies for years in Washington, D.C. And what happens in Washington, D.C., if you walk down the street with a cute puppy, like let's say you have a French bulldog, forget it. You're not even getting half a block down the street before people are stopping you and they're getting your puppy really revved up and really excited. So in that way, coronavirus is kind of nice because we don't have that problem anymore. You can go for your walk and people are kind of staying at a distance. And the thing that's nice about that is it gives your puppy the opportunity to make the first move. It gives your puppy the opportunity to be confident, which hasn't happened before. Like before, if you lived in an urban area and you had a cute puppy, your puppy would just get like mobbed by people and your puppy wouldn't have a choice unless you were like this very assertive, protective puppy parent. But now it's nice. People are at a distance. So you can watch your puppy's body language a little more easily. And you can see like how your puppy's actually feeling about these people or dogs. And they're not just like greeting you right away and interrupting that. So watch your puppy's body language. Is their head up? Is their tail up? Do they have a soft, loose body? Are they doing a soft little tail wag like that? Those are all really great signs. You can still be treating your puppy. So if your puppy, let's say your puppy sees the neighbor's Labrador. So Lucy, the Labrador, is walking down the sidewalk. Your puppy's head's up, her tail's up. She's got this nice soft body, nice soft wag. You're going to be saying, good girl, treat, treat, treat. We could change that scenario, right? So let's say your puppy sees Lucy, the Labrador, walking down the street and her head's up and her tail's up, but her whole body's very stiff and she's locked on and she's staring at Lucy the Labrador. We're still going to be treating, but in my head I'm going to say, wow, that was a really intense response for my little, whatever it is, say 10-week-old puppy towards this Labrador. I am going to seek out more dogs to pair with treats, condition her with treats. I want her to think that seeing all of these large dogs is a great thing, and I'm going to be giving her a lot of treats. So those are two things you might see. Other body language to watch out for, if your puppy kind of freezes in place, maybe they lower a little bit, that could be a sign that your puppy's scared. And even more obvious than that, sometimes they pancake to the ground or they run away. I want to caution you on the tails. A lot of people say like, oh, her tail's wagging, she's fine. That's not necessarily true. So tail wagging is not always an indicator that your puppy's happy. A lot of times it can indicate just like their overall energy level, but it doesn't always mean your puppy's happy just because they have a tail that's moving. So I want you to just be aware of that. So you're just observing your puppy, you're observing your puppy's body language. I always tell my clients, you might want to keep a puppy journal. I think that's really helpful. If you keep a puppy journal, then you can just like track your puppy's progress with all of these things. So that can be great. So you need those three things to have a well-trained dog. You need the tools. So we covered all the tools. You need a healthy puppy. You need the treats, the harness and the leash, or collar and a leash would be okay. And you need to really be a keen observer of your puppy's body language. From the tools, we're going to move on to the training. The training is actually a little more straightforward in this one. The training is see a person or a dog or an animal or a traffic cone or a balloon or a flag or any of those things. You fill in the blank. See any of these things that we want to socialize our puppy to. Your puppy sees it, then you're going to say good and you're going to give them some treats, 2 or 3 kibble-sized treats. And then you're also going to remember your puppy's response, right? So if your puppy had the good response, then you just take it in stride and you're like, all right, this is just part of our socialization. If your puppy had a response that you didn't love, the puppy was too stiff or scared or barked or something like that, then I would like just note it in my mind and I would be like, okay, puppy barked at a large dog. I'm going to be looking for more large dogs. So you've got that. And then, where was I at? Sorry. Okay, so you've got tools, you've got training. So yeah, so that's it. So you're just treating when your puppy sees these different things. You really want to get all the different arenas for socialization, right? So most important is humans. You want your puppy to see men, women, toddlers, middle school students, high schoolers, elderly people, people in wheelchairs, people with canes, people on skateboards, people on bicycles, all the people. All different races, all different sizes, all different tones of voice, all different outfits, hats, umbrellas, all that kind of stuff. Dogs is the other big category, right? So if you live in an urban area, you really want to make sure that your dog is seeing all different kinds of dogs. If you live in a suburban area or a rural area, you still want to make sure your dog's seeing all kinds of dogs, maybe even more so, because they're not going to see them as naturally on your daily walks. So you're just pairing all of these experiences, seeing all of these things with treats. And then the third piece for me is always mindset. So you've got your tools, you've got your training, but then the third piece for me is always mindset. And for mindset with puppy socialization is I want you to just buckle up. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's about getting out there. If you have a young puppy, it's about getting out there in your neighborhood daily. And then maybe like in different areas or doing socialization field trips a couple times a week. But it's really about consistency. It's about getting out there. It's about continuing just doing it. I think it's a lot about tracking. You know, I like to track because then I feel like I know what's to expect. I know where my puppy needs more work. I know where my puppy needs less work. So your mindset, it's a marathon. I would just go at it you want to be your puppy's rock, so your puppy can feel scared, your puppy can feel excited, your puppy can feel aroused, your puppy can feel overwhelmed, all of those things, and you are the rock. So your body language, your feelings, all of that, you're just like neutral to like slightly positive about everything. So your puppy's scared and you're like, good, it's okay, treat, it's okay, treat, good, it's okay, treat. Or your puppy's aggressive, you're like, okay, good, it's okay, treat, it's okay, treat. Not like your puppy, let's say like your puppy sees a balloon and your puppy growls and lunges and barks and goes rah 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 rah. You don't want to be like, no, don't do that, because your puppy's not going to see that you're like that you're some like alpha leader and that they should definitely not bark. That's not what they're going to see. They're going to go, oh, wow, my owner's like really scared and upset too. So that's something that I should definitely be concerned about. Instead, you just want to be like cool as a cucumber, just like calm, steady, be your puppy's rock, be there for your puppy. So it's a marathon. There's like this, I have 2 little kids, and there's this woman who does like parenting stuff for toddlers, and she talks about like the name of her podcast is actually Unruffled, and I think that word is like perfect. Also, it's perfect for toddlers, but I think it's also perfect for puppies, right? You want to be unruffled. You want to just be like cool, calm. It's just like no big deal. So just go through it with your puppy, be your puppy's rock, and that's really it. So those are the big 3. If you want to discuss this further, what I want you to do is I want you to join my free Facebook group for puppy owners, because in there we do all kinds of discussion on tons of things. I post new topics weekly, and then like we go into it on each topic. So it's a really great place if you want more details, if you want to have a little more back and forth, if you have questions, that's a good place to go. If you want even more specifics about socialization, if you're like me, if you're like a detail person, if you need the details, I want you to go to savvycitydog.com, and I want you to join the membership. So I have a membership for dog owners, but puppy owners, there's a lot of puppies in there. But what you can get in the membership is a lot of stuff. You get on-demand courses, you get the live puppy kindergarten classes, live help, you get office hours, you get all this good stuff. But also you can get the resources. So you can get like my socialization checklist. So I give you everything. You don't even have to think about it. You just like go in there and just check off every day. It tells you how many things each day that you need to be checking off, exactly what you need to be checking off. So you can get those tools and that help that you need there. So from this, definitely, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're watching this. But from here, if you want to keep talking about it, if you still have more questions, join the free group. Or if you have even more questions and you want to talk to me directly and you want me to see your puppy in person, or you want the resources, like you want the socialization checklist, if you want the on-demand courses on socialization, we also have like potty training, puppy bedding, we have all the things, then go to savvycitydog.com and join the membership, because that's actually going to be your best vehicle. So just to recap everything that we talked about, it was a lot. So I want to just recap. Socialization is the period of time from 4 to 12 weeks, or maybe 16 weeks. And that's the period of time where we want to expose our puppies to everything that we want them to be comfortable with as an adult. And because we're in a pandemic, socialization looks different for some people. Not really me as much, but in some ways. But it does look a little different, but not really. Like a lot of the foundation things you can still do. So I call this like my social distancing socialization. It's socialization with social distancing in mind. So you are going to have the right tools, your health, your puppy's health, your health too, but your puppy's health, treats, harness, leash, and you're going to have your puppy body language knowledge. So that's so important, right? And then you've got your social distancing socialization training, and that's where you get to be at a distance, see the thing, treat, see the thing, treat, see the thing, treat. So see the dog, treat, see the baby, treat, whatever. So your puppy doesn't have to approach these things. Remember, your puppy does not need to actually touch other dogs or people in order to grow up into a well-adjusted adult dog. So that's this social distancing socialization. They can see at a distance and get treats, and be in those environments and get treats. You also, the third piece of my necessary things that you have to have is mindset, right? So it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, just you're in it for the long haul. And then the second thing was be your puppy's rock. So don't get like swept along your puppy's emotional waves. You just want to be super steady. You just want to be there for your puppy. You want to model for your puppy how you want them to be through this whole process. So if your puppy's scared or your puppy's aggressive over something, don't panic. Just be steady. If you need a second opinion, if you need a trainer, come join the membership and talk to me. But mostly you can just be steady and just watch and just see what happens, or join the free Facebook group that I have, expert-led puppy training. Get in there, share a video, get some feedback on that. So, but in the moment, what I want your puppy to see is that you are just so smooth and calm and steady. So tools, training, mindset. That's it. 3 things you have to remember for puppy socialization during coronavirus. Tools, training, mindset. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions or you want to discuss further, I will be checking the puppy expert-led puppy group throughout the day today, maybe a little tomorrow. But if you really want to contact me, the main way to do that is going to be through the membership. That's where you can actually have office hours with me. I'll actually be in class with you, and you can get access to all of my materials, including that socialization checklist. All right, thanks so much for joining. Bye. Let's see. Just trying to end this video.